The silent nighttime threat. What seniors must stop drinking before bed. The invisible danger waiting in the dark. Stop for a moment and think about your bedtime routine. Don't take another sip of your evening drink tonight until you understand the hidden mechanism we are about to uncover. Right now, a common, seemingly innocent nighttime habit is quietly raising the blood pressure of millions of seniors. Most people are doing it without even realizing the profound danger they are putting themselves in. It is a silent, invisible threat that waits patiently for the lights to go out. The worst part about this threat? It happens entirely while you are asleep. You feel nothing. Most people never notice it until it is too late, until they wake up wondering why they feel utterly exhausted, or why their morning blood pressure readings are suddenly off the charts despite doing everything right the day before. To understand why this happens, we have to look at how the human body is designed to rest. Your blood pressure is fundamentally supposed to drop at night. This is a natural, essential biological process known in cardiology as dipping. When you sleep, your cardiovascular system finally gets a desperately needed chance to rest, recalibrate, and recover from the physical and emotional stress of your waking hours. But for a massive percentage of the population, especially those over the age of 60, that vital dip simply never happens. Instead of resting, their heart is working overtime in the dark. This is the terrifying phenomenon of the non-dipper, and medical science now recognizes it as one of the most dangerous predictors of future health crises, including strokes and heart attacks. If your morning blood pressure readings are consistently higher than your afternoon readings, there is a very real chance that this non-dipping phenomenon is happening to you right now. The case of Arthur, fighting a ghost. Let's look at the reality of this through the case of a 67-year-old man. Let's call him Arthur. Arthur's story is likely very similar to yours. He lived a normal, proactive, relatively healthy lifestyle. He wasn't someone who gorged on fast food or spent his entire day sitting on the couch. He took his daily walks. He watched his portion sizes. He took his medications exactly as prescribed. And yet, every single morning, Arthur's blood pressure monitor showed numbers that simply didn't make sense. They were dangerously high. The confusing part was that everything looked absolutely fine during the day. His doctor would check his blood pressure at 2 p.m. and find nothing out of the ordinary, a perfect 120/80. But something was going catastrophically wrong at night. Arthur was doing everything he was told to do by the medical establishment, yet his body was failing a test he didn't even know he was taking. He was incredibly frustrated and, quite frankly, scared. He felt like he was fighting a ghost. He and his doctors looked at his diet, his daytime stress levels, and his medication dosages. But the answer remained entirely hidden. We will come back to Arthur, because what was eventually discovered on his nightstand changed everything. Debunking the usual suspects. When morning blood pressure is high, you might automatically assume the culprit is salt. For decades, we have been told that the salt shaker is the ultimate enemy of the human heart. Or perhaps you think it is a lack of rigorous exercise, or the lingering, unresolved stress of the day following you into your dreams. It makes logical sense to blame these things. But the reality of nocturnal hypertension is far more confusing. Cardiologists regularly see patients who fix all of those issues. People who cut their sodium intake to near zero, who walk 5 miles a day, and who meditate for an hour before bed. And they still have this problem. They do the hard work, they make the daily sacrifices, and the morning numbers still will not budge. This intense confusion is exactly where many people simply give up, assuming it is just a tragic consequence of getting old or bad genetics. But it isn't. The answer is almost certainly sitting in your kitchen right now. The 5 healthy drinks quietly sabotaging your heart. Let's break down exactly what is happening inside your body, starting with the drinks you likely view as completely harmless or even beneficial. 1. The nightcap. Alcohol. Some people drink a small glass of alcohol at night to relax. They think a little wine or a stiff drink will take the edge off and help them drift away. And honestly, it does, at first. Alcohol has what is called a biphasic effect, a two-phase effect. It might lower your blood pressure initially because it acts as a central nervous system depressant. You pour a glass of wine at 10 p.m. You feel relaxed. Your pressure might even dip slightly in the first hour. That part is entirely real. But your liver does not stop working when you close your eyes. Around midnight or 1 a.m., while you are deep in sleep, your liver shifts into full processing mode to clear the toxins. As it metabolizes the alcohol, it triggers a massive rebound activation of your sympathetic nervous system, your fight-or-flight system. This is the exact system that is supposed to be completely quiet and dormant while you sleep. Suddenly, your heart rate climbs, your blood vessels tighten and constrict, and your blood pressure, which should be at its absolute lowest point of the entire 24-hour cycle, surges dramatically instead. You are sound asleep. You feel nothing, but your cardiovascular system is revving like it is responding to a physical threat. 2. Grapefruit juice, the medication blocker. Here is where it gets even more complicated, because it is not just alcohol. There is another drink sitting in many seniors' refrigerators right now that most doctors simply never think to ask about. Grapefruit juice. It seems harmless. It seems incredibly healthy. But grapefruit contains a specific group of natural chemical compounds called furanocoumarins. What these compounds do is highly specific and highly dangerous. They block a vital enzyme in your gut and liver called CYP3A4. This enzyme is directly responsible for breaking down and metabolizing a long list of common medications. We are talking about calcium channel blockers, like amlodipine and felodipine, which are among the most commonly prescribed blood pressure drugs in the world. We are also talking about certain statins for cholesterol and anti-anxiety medications. When you drink grapefruit juice, and these drugs cannot be properly metabolized by your body, one of two things happens. The drug builds up to dangerously high toxic levels in your bloodstream. The drug is rendered entirely ineffective, leaving you unprotected. The most terrifying part: this blocking effect can last up to 24 hours from a single glass. You could have a glass of grapefruit juice with breakfast on Tuesday, and it is still actively interfering with your blood pressure medication on Tuesday night. 3. Herbal teas with hidden caffeine. Many people switch to herbal tea, believing it is the ultimate calming bedtime drink. And yes, genuine pure herbal teas, like chamomile, are completely fine. The problem is that the wellness tea category has exploded, and a significant portion of what is being sold under the herbal label is not caffeine-free at all. Drinks like yerba mate, certain green tea blends marketed as detoxifying, and energy-adjacent wellness teas carry enough hidden caffeine to measurably blunt your nocturnal blood pressure dip. Because the packaging says herbal or natural, people never make the connection. Check your labels tonight. If it does not explicitly say caffeine-free, do not assume it is safe for your heart. 4. Sugary fruit juices, the stress trigger. Standard everyday fruit juice, orange juice, apple juice, the drinks you have considered healthy your entire life, are terrible for nocturnal blood pressure. A glass of fruit juice before bed delivers a rapid, massive surge of liquid sugar directly into your bloodstream. Your body immediately responds by releasing insulin to manage the sugar. When insulin spikes at night, it triggers a chain reaction that releases cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Cortisol activates your sympathetic nervous system. It commands your blood vessels to stay constricted. The sugar in that innocent glass of juice is essentially sending a biological alarm signal through your cardiovascular system at the exact moment your heart is trying to recover. 5. Electrolyte sports drinks and protein shakes. If you are drinking sports drinks before bed for hydration, you are delivering a heavy sodium, salt load at the exact moment your body becomes horizontal. That sodium increases fluid retention and raises what cardiologists call cardiac preload, the heavy pressure with which blood returns to the heart. Similarly, certain high-concentration protein meal replacement shakes can stimulate the release of norepinephrine as they metabolize, keeping the nervous system overly alert. The 3 a.m. danger zone. Why the morning surge is deadly. Why does all of this matter so much? Because daytime clinic visits are structurally incapable of catching this problem. You can walk into a doctor's office at noon with a perfect 120 over 80, but that daytime health is a mask for a nighttime catastrophe. This hidden danger is exactly why the vast majority of strokes and heart attacks occur in the early morning hours. Research, including the landmark Ohasama study, one of the most significant long-term blood pressure investigations ever conducted, has confirmed this. Your blood pressure is supposed to reach its lowest point, the nadir, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Then it naturally begins to rise around 5 a.m. to prepare your body to wake up. But in non-dippers, people whose blood vessels have been kept tight all night by alcohol, sugar, or blocked medication, that early morning surge starts from a baseline that never dropped. Instead of rising safely from a rested floor, your blood pressure is climbing from an already elevated ceiling. The cardiovascular system has been under immense pressure all night, and the morning wake-up surge becomes the final fatal trigger that ruptures a vessel or dislodges a plaque. The turning point. Arthur's solution. Back to Arthur. He had tried everything, but we were at a loss until we looked at his nightstand. He had fallen into a routine with one of these exact drinks, completely convinced it was helping him unwind. His nighttime drink was keeping his blood vessels in a state of constant, rigid tension. Once we identified the problem, we made one specific pivot. We didn't just remove the bad habit. We replaced it with something that actively works with the body's nighttime biology, rather than against it. We introduced a small, specific amount of pure beetroot juice. The science of beetroot and nitric oxide. At night, your blood vessels are supposed to relax and dilate, widen, allowing blood to flow easily with less pressure against the delicate artery walls. Beetroot works to guarantee this happens. Beetroot is incredibly rich in natural dietary nitrates. When you consume it, your body converts these nitrates into a miraculous gas called nitric oxide, NO. Nitric oxide acts as a powerful vasodilator. It literally communicates with the smooth muscle cells lining your artery walls, commanding them to relax and open up. This dramatically improves blood flow while you sleep, actively encouraging that crucial dipping effect that your heart desperately needs. It addresses the non-dipping problem at its very chemical root. Furthermore, nitric oxide has been shown to reduce platelet aggregation. This means it helps prevent your blood cells from sticking together, directly lowering the risk of the blood clots that cause early morning strokes. It also reduces oxidative stress on the endothelium, the inner lining of your arteries, healing the tissue that takes the most damage from sustained hypertension. The ultimate nighttime protocol for healthy blood pressure. This is not a folk remedy. This is peer-reviewed biochemistry working in your favor. If you want to protect your heart tonight, here is the exact protocol to follow. 1. The beetroot strategy. About 45 to 60 minutes before you plan to sleep, drink 4 to 6 ounces of pure, unsweetened beetroot juice. Do not buy a blend mixed with apple or fruit sugar. Do not add sugar to it. Sugar triggers insulin, which triggers cortisol, which destroys the vasodilation you are trying to create. The timing is crucial. The conversion from nitrate to nitric oxide takes about 30 to 45 minutes to reach its peak effect in the bloodstream. You want that window of maximum vasodilation to perfectly coincide with your first few hours of sleep. A squeeze of lemon or ginger is fine to improve the earthy taste. 2. Sleep on your left side. This is not a minor detail. Anatomically, your descending aorta curves to the left. Sleeping on your left side reduces the mechanical compression on this major vessel. It drastically improves the efficiency of blood returning to the heart and has been clinically shown to reduce the workload on your cardiovascular system while you sleep. It takes a few days to get used to, but it is worth the adjustment. 3. Dim the lights. The melatonin connection. Put your phone, tablet, and bright screens away at least 30 minutes before bed. Screen light actively suppresses your brain's production of melatonin. Most people think melatonin is just a sleep hormone, but it actually has a mild, very real blood pressure regulating effect. By protecting your melatonin production, you are directly protecting your cardiovascular recovery window. 4. Consider magnesium glycinate. If your doctor approves, bring up magnesium glycinate at your next appointment. Magnesium is one of the most well-studied minerals for both deep sleep quality and nocturnal blood pressure regulation. It naturally helps relax the nervous system, and it is significantly underutilized in senior cardiovascular care. The final word. Arthur followed this protocol. Not perfectly at first, and not all at once. But within 3 weeks of removing the drink that was keeping his vessels tight and introducing the beetroot juice at the right time, his morning readings began to change. The ghost he had been fighting for months finally disappeared. We focus so much on our waking hours, our daytime steps, our daytime meals, that we forget the heart never takes a vacation. It is a 24-hour organ that requires a 24-hour strategy. It has been working for you every single hour of every single day of your entire life without asking for anything in return. Look at what is on your nightstand tonight, because sometimes the difference between a dangerous morning and a healthy, vibrant one is not a new synthetic medication or a complex medical procedure. Sometimes it is simply one bad drink removed and one healing drink added. Fix your nights and you will save your mornings.